Do not take the Ormond one.
You've already had two.
Okay, right, we're back. Let's go. Let's start. Let's get on to day 2 of the Unbridled Cheltenham Festival. We're bringing you episodes, of course, every day of Cheltenham 2025. And on Thursday and Friday, Pad, we're bringing them from your pad.
I know. Really excited about it. Kicking the family out. And, yeah.
Have you had to have, like, cleaners in all week or things just to...
I'm the cleaner, Matt.
You what?
I'm the cleaner.
Are you quite handy around the house?
Try to be. Ask my wife.
Like, genuinely, can you take mess, or are you happy with mess?
I can take mess.
Can you? I hate mess. I hate it. Right, let's hope we don't get messy in the 120 at Cheltenham on Wednesday. The Turners Novices Hurdle will mark the appearance of Final Demand. People were worried that he might get switched to the Albert Bartlett, but he's going 2 mile 5 at a shortish price because the new Lion has been well supported for the Skeltons in recent weeks. The Yellow Clay next in the betting at the moment. And Potter's Charm, I suspect the Twiston Davis team will think is massively overpriced after his defeat last time. Paddy, what do we make of this race?
Yeah, obviously, Final Demand, there was talk whether he'd go for the Albert Bartlett, but I thought this would be the race he'd go for. I think the trip's okay. I just think slightly slower ground would favour him. Matt, this is my nap of the week, the new Lion. I'm really looking forward to watching him. He was very impressive in a Grade 1. Okay, the form hasn't stood up to that much, but he could only win. And yeah, I think when you see him in the yard, Matt, he stands out. He's the last horse that used to remind me of that was English Drever. Similar sort of size, similar build, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him on Wednesday.
Okay. Look, you might well be right. He's the Challow winner, though. And as we know, Challow hurdle winners do not really do very well at anything else. Although there is one.
He's not your ordinary Challow winner, though. They don't normally win like that.
No. Did Denman win the Challow? I'm sure he did. Back in the day, I can't remember. But the new Lion is clearly a pretty useful horse. I'm sticking with Final Demand. He just looks such a machine. It is extraordinary because you go back to his point-to-point. The horse in second rated in the 80s for David Pipe, and the horse in third is so useless it can't do anything. And he didn't win it by miles or anything like that. But the impression at the Dublin Racing Festival was that this horse is just something extraordinary. And again, smallish field, plays into the hands, I think, of a horse who probably is going to be on the front end. There are good horses in this, though. I don't think 6 Mile Bridge is a mug in any way. And I do think Potter's Charm is not the worst each way bet.
If you've got to look at 6 Mile Bridge and Potter's Charm, obviously you look at the last race at Cheltenham, very soft ground. If you say to me which would I think better ground would suit, it'd definitely be Potter's Charm. I could see him reversing the placings there, and yeah, definitely a massive price. Like, he's drifted to what, 14 to 1?
He's about 14 to 1, and one thing that's interesting about Potter's Charm is that they basically just said he didn't perform last time and it came too quickly, and they were umming and ahhing, some of the team, whether they should run. But he does go on Wednesday with a first-time tongue strap, and it just makes you wonder whether, although they've never said it, the team, that Sam Twiston just wondered whether he needed a little bit of help in some way, because he hasn't had a tongue strap up to now. Why introduce it now he's been defeated? So if that's going to make a bit of a difference. I mean, look, if he hadn't run last time, Paddy, he'd be half the odds. He'd be about a 7 to 1 shot. Yeah,
I agree. Massive price.
He is a massive price.
And definitely each way, but we're looking at as a 2-horse race, Final Demand, the new Lion. It doesn't always work out like that. So yeah, he is a massive price.
Okay, let's go on to the second race on the card. The Brown Advisory Novices Chase is due off at 2 o'clock, Grade 1. And not a single British horse in this race, is there? No, none. They're all Irish. I mean, it's just embarrassing, isn't it, that we can't find a horse over here. I'm not too fussed about where they're trained, but it is embarrassing there's not one.
And as well, bar one horse, Matt, it's Willie Mullins versus Gordon Elliott.
It is pathetic. It really is. I don't think punters find this a thrill. And again, we're getting back to what Tony Mullins was talking about on a terrific Unbridled on yesterday. You just gotta sort yourselves out and have more competition.
Yeah, but we can't really argue that here, Matt. This race has been here for some time. And the fact that
I agree.
The fact that it's Willie Mullins versus Gordon Elliott. Okay, you got one runner in Henry de Bromhead. This is something you would see regularly in Punchestown or in Ireland. It's not ideal, is it? But it won't last forever. Oh.
Look, this time last year, everyone was talking about Ballyburn as if he really was going to be one of the greats of the game. That would have continued until he got beaten by Sergino at Kempton. But as I've said many times, isn't Ballyburn being beaten by Sergino at Kempton the equivalent of Galopin Deschamps not winning the John Durkan? I mean, if he's just running over the wrong trip, should we even take that as a bad run? Maybe it was a good run.
Yeah, very good point. But when you go back to last year, speaking about Ballyburn, you really couldn't see him being beat at Cheltenham. You know, he was unbeatable. But I don't think that's the case this year, Matt. He jumps okay, but I don't get the wow factor when he's jumping a fence. But when you look through the race, what have you got on your side? What can beat him? Better Days Ahead, Dancing City.
Well, Dancing City's quite a tough, good horse, isn't he?
Yeah, would he want a little bit of slower ground? So, look, will Ballyburn win? Possibly. Is he a good thing? Not for me.
Well, on official ratings, he's got £8 in hand of all of these, and you kind of know what's going to happen, isn't he? Although they might get a lead, someone was telling me, but I'd just pop him out and
it'd be very straightforward race. The ride won't be that won't be a problem.
I just think he'll outclass them. I mean, class is everything. Stamina, you certain he's a strong stayer.
Has he run over a trip like this before?
Ballyburn, has he gone the full distance? No, I don't think he has.
That's a lot more fences. And yes, I'm sure he'd jump around and be fine, but
he's got an extended 2 mile 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's going to get beaten for stamina because I think class will come into it, but it's interesting. 240 Coral Cup handicap hurdle. Very early on, I put up Be Aware as a horse to follow this season and for this race. He was 14-1 when we put him up on this show, I think, actually. He's now a 5-1 shot, roughly, as we record. Having put him up, Pat, at 14, I can't really advise people to back him at that kind of price now. I don't think he's a great price now. If I was going to go for a bit of value in here, I might look at Ballyadam, who has a tremendous record in this race and at Cheltenham. He's old, but I imagine he'll bring something to the table. So, look, it's kind of like we've got Be Aware in the book at 14-1. I'll put another one in the book, Ballyadam.
Yeah. Well, if you had bigged the favourite up, Matt, I watched him schooling the other day, Be Aware, and he's so well. He is so well, and he's a worthy favourite.
He's never gone anywhere near this trip.
No, that is, if he gets the trip, he probably wins. Out of the others, there's a horse I like at a big price, Matt, Jibcot. I just think a race like this trip would suit him. Now, I wouldn't have went 3 miles with him as a prep run 25 days ago. I don't see any sense in that. They were obviously thinking of the Pertemps. This is his trip. It's just whether, that might have left its mark, that race. So at a big each way price, Jibcot. But yeah, another one for the Skeletons, I think.
Cross Country Chase is at 320. The Glenfarclas Cross Country Chase, now a limited handicap. Stumptown has been favourite for a long time. The former almost Gold Cup class horse Galvin in there. And off 10 stone 10, Mr. Coffee tried to win his first ever chase. Which one would you like to ride if you were still riding in this, Pat?
I think where we've got to concentrate on this race, Matt, is before we go any further at the ground. This was heavy a week ago. It's now looking like good, could be quicker in places. They won't be able to get the water on this like they do on the main track, where they'll try their best to keep it good to soft. Stumptown, obviously big chance, but you can't get away from the mark of a mark of 157, Matt. I'm not sure he's that good to carry a mark like that. Mr. Coffee, if he's ever could get his day in the sun, this could be it. I did like Galvin. I'm not sure what ground he's preferred on, but Mr. Coffee for me on this ground's got a massive chance.
I agree.
And with 10 stone 10, Matt.
I'm happy to give him the chance.
Yeah.
I think they'll ride him a bit healthier, sort of give him a bit more chance, but he gets outpaced, doesn't he? I tell you the other one at a massive price, who I don't think will be disgraced, or the ground might be not quite so. I think I Will Do It will run okay in a handicap like this. 150, the old boy. He's 12 now. He didn't run badly in the Welsh National.
No. And a lot of the form with Stumptown, Mr. Coffey, like their last run, there wasn't much between them. And when you look at the difference in the weights here, it's a lot of weight.
Queen Mother Champion Chase is the big race on day 2 of the 2025 Cheltenham Festival, the Bet MGM Queen Mother Champion Chase. Jonbon, of course, has long been the anti-post favourite here. Marine Nationale and Energumene in the race as well. Solness, Founder 50, Captain Guinness, Quilixius and Liberty Hunter will be the roughie, although has been an improving horse this season. Let's get the elephant out of the room straight away, Paddy. Jonbon at Cheltenham. Is Cheltenham a problem for Jonbon, or is that just bollocks?
Could be bollocks, but he has
Could
be bollocks.
Name me the 3 races he's been beaten in at Cheltenham.
Supreme Novice.
Great.
Arkle.
Yeah.
And
Clarence House.
Okay.
And the Clarence House, he made a terrible mistake, and every horse.
Yeah, and that ground
that wasn't because of Cheltenham.
I think he'd be better on this ground. Yeah.
So he's won at Cheltenham. There's no logic in saying this horse does not like Cheltenham.
I just have a small, we listened to Danny Mullins the other day on Solness, and I was really interested to hear the speed, and he's jumping so quick. Just having a horse like that just to go off in Marine Nationale, that's your only way, is to just put the pressure in the race for him early. Just try and force him into a mistake. Just have this feeling about Marine Nationale that it's going to win at Cheltenham. Do you know when you just think something, Matt? You just feel something. I think it's more of a feeling than an actual opinion on Marine Nationale. But like everyone's going to say Jonbon's going to win, and you'd have to say that. What do you think?
I genuinely couldn't have Marine Nationale on my mind.
Okay.
I'm
not. I'm just saying it from Michael.
As a hurdler, he looked immense, but I don't think he's got the size and scope of a proper champion chaser. He could never jump I mean, I know no horse can jump a fence like Sprinter Sacra, but he could never jump a fence like that. He'd never make 2 lengths in the air. I'm joined by Barry Connell, who's had William Money Runner, an absolute belter in the Supreme, Barry.
Yeah, Matt, we're thrilled with him. He's a Westerner horse, and he's always had tons of ability, but he's been way too keen in his bumpers and his first 2 hurdle races. He's been doing everything wrong, running with the choke out, not concentrating on his jumping. So we changed it up the last time, dropped him in the listed race, settled a bit better, jumped great, and we thought coming today that he had, what I told people is he definitely has the ability to be in contention coming down to the last. He's a serious level of ability. Now I think that race was probably one of the deepest novice hurdles we've had run in Cheltenham for the past number of years. I think there'll be a lot of winners coming out of it. The winner looks a bit special. We're beating a length and a half. I don't know what the distance back to the third was, but probably 6 or 7 lengths. So he's 7 years of age. He didn't run till he was 6. Thrilled at the way he jumped. 5th last, 4th last, 3rd last. Had to come up from nearly outside the wings. Showed great scope. So we haven't schooled him over fences yet, but I'd be encouraged to think that we could be coming back for the Arkle next year.
In some ways, then, we're looking at another Marine Nationale, and of course this was the race named after Michael O'Sullivan, who won the race on Marine. You nearly pulled it off, and of course Marine Nationale goes in the champion chase. Maybe things are aligning a little bit.
Yeah, well look, Marine has a number of things in his favour. He basically still a novice because he only had 2 runs last year, then he got a suspensory injury. So we've been playing catch up to try and get experience. The horses he's been running against this season have had a full season of novice campaign. So he's basically improved on the figures, £10 from Naas to Leopardstown. And I think he has, from what he's shown us at home, a similar level of improvement to come again today. If you look at other boxes that are ticked in his favour, course and distance winner in Cheltenham over the old course, albeit over hurdles, loves the ground, great temperament. He over hurdles, he 3 runs, and he had a similar level of progression. He won a nondescript maiden hurl in Punchestown in October. Then he improved a stone to the Royal Bond, and he improved another stone to the Supreme. And that's what we've been seeing at home. We've been gearing him up to peak for the race tomorrow. So I'd be quietly confident. As you know, I was extremely confident 2 years ago and told everyone in the country that the horse wouldn't get beat, and I got away with it. I said I'm never doing that again. So I just lay out the facts and people can make their own mind up.
And Ergamine?
I mean, I just think Jonbon will win.
But I know we something has to finish second, Matt.
Well, Energamine presumably will be ridden off the pace. I don't fancy Solness at all, although he's very useful. Liberty Hunter might just pick up pieces, because you'd imagine Wedgie...
Likes Cheltenham.
I mean, they are riding for second, aren't they? They are riding for second.
Yeah, good shout, that.
And when we say that, we should just make it absolutely clear. It's not a case of people not trying. They are trying, but there are some races you have to go in, and realistically, Liberty Hunter cannot beat Jonbon. So what are you doing there? Okay, well, you're trying to ride for the best possible placing. Now, if in the ultimately Jonbon falls at the first, that might mean that you end up winning it. But they're going to sit out the back and try. Whereas Solness can only surely win or finish last for me. Like, he's either going to blow out or get knackered.
You say that Joseph O'Brien's horses don't seem to get knackered. So he's going to, look, it's hard to say he's going to finish first or last, but you look in a race like that, Liberty Hunter is a good shout, big price, and could see him run into a place, definitely.
It's interesting you say that about Joseph O'Brien, that it wasn't a stable I thought that was in the most amazing form of all time.
He doesn't have many jumpers, Matt.
No, he's had a couple, but at the time of recording, it's still quite a long time since his last winner. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that the stable is absolutely fine. They had a couple at Turlers and Leopardstown in early March, but anyway, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't fancy it anyway. I don't fancy Solness at all.
Okay, so you say Jonbon to win and Liberty Hunter to be second.
Or an Ergamine.
Yeah, I just
because Ergamine's going to be ridden like that as well.
Okay.
I don't
think he's a horse to
the forecast side of it doesn't interest me that much.
Okay. Well, it might interest some of our viewers, Matt. All about you.
When you were riding, were you sometimes concerned about the forecast, Patrick?
No, but I was sometimes concerned about picking up as much prize money as I could.
Slightly worried about how much you know about betting. Right, let's go forward to the 440. It's the Johnny Henderson Hendo Grand Annual Challenge Cup. Now, I have to say, last year's Cheltenham Festival was probably the best I've ever had as far as tipping. And one of the reasons was I was lucky enough to latch on to Dan Skelton very early as the great handicap trainer, the man who really understood the system like Martin Pipe used to understand the system. I think he did it with Unexpected Party, and I think he'll do it again with Unexpected Party. And the reason is this, Paddy. Although he's 10 now, and he is on roughly £6 higher than last year, last year's festival was on soft, and this is a good ground horse. So I'm hoping that faster ground will negate that £6, because essentially he's on a surface he'll prefer even more than last year. He did jump for fun. He jumped every fence immaculately in 2024.
Yeah, he's a good jumper, and loves Cheltenham, and yeah, he's got a massive chance. Maybe so Scottish him at Mullins, give him an each way chance. Grand Annual, speed, Matt, champion chase. It's similar with 3 times the amount of runners.
Did Pigeon win?
Yeah.
No, who won?
Pigeon Island won.
Did he?
Gebham 0.
It was on a different day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Now, just tell us that story, because you'd won the Gold Cup and Imperial Commander, who obviously, you were going crazy about that. Pigeon Island was one of your favourite horses. What kind of ride do you think you gave Pigeon?
Well, when I won the Gold Cup, I had to lose, I think, £2 in the sauna before I rode Pigeon Island. He was bottom weight, so it was actually a nice time, because I got time to go into the sauna, reflect. And then with Pigeon Island, I thought, well, he's whatever price he was, probably not much chance. Went out, I thought, just get round. Looking forward to the party after, and yeah, Gebham 0, and it was... They all went flat out, but he loved him, Matt. He heard the crowd, a bit like English Drever, and he just kept going by him one by one, and nailed David Bass, French opera up the run-in. It was brilliant.
When you say you gave him nothing, what do you mean?
Well, I just You just completely relax. I'm not going that well. See, sometimes when you've had a winner or two on a day, you ride more winners because you just let it happen a bit more. If I hadn't, and Nigel was saying, "Can you be handy or halfway?" You might listen to him, but I didn't listen to him. And as I say, I couldn't go, and I accepted it because I just won the Gold Cup, and I thought, let's see what happens. So I honestly believe if I didn't win the Gold Cup, he wouldn't have won the Grand Annual.
And would that have been a little bit like the ride then that Gavin Sheehan gave at the weekend, which I know you really enjoyed? Effectively a horse who couldn't win 2 out, and the jockey had almost given up, but then just because he hadn't been hard on him and hadn't done anything, suddenly the horse picks up the bridle a little bit.
Yeah, that was unbelievable to watch. I only actually got to watch it back on Sunday, and well, I think, Matt, this is where the tactics in England comes into play. Trainers, everyone being handy. There's horses ran in that race that will take forever to get over that. Yes, it was grueling. They were riding that race like it was at Taunton, turning in like it's Sandown. It's up a mountain on soft ground. Gavin Sheehan, you ask him 2 out, he doesn't think he's winning. But just went by one horse. He looks up, and when you're in that position as a jockey, and you see them coming, they're walking in front of you, and you've got a bit of horse. He'd have got some kick out of that. It was brilliant to watch.
You've never gone hiking in the Lake District, have you? If you think Sandown's a mountain.
It's a stiff finish, man, I'm telling you. And the ground makes it. It is. Do you not think it's uphill?
It definitely is uphill.
But what?
Well, up a mountain, I just think, is over-egging it slightly.
Well, up a mountain maybe, but on that ground it feels like it. From the last to you watch horses the last, they can never meet it any longer than spot on. I don't know what it is. It's you meet that last hurl spot on and it feels long. It was slow motion stuff.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because the official going report before the off was good to soft, good in places. And I ruled out Go Dante from the Imperial Cup on that going report solely. And I got so much stick from a few listeners and viewers saying, "You said that had no chance." Well, that's because I thought the ground was good to soft, good in places. And I know I'm dealing with a horse who can only operate on soft or heavy. And then, of course, jockeys come in after the first race and say, it's nearly soft and tacky and horrible ground. It's something that you should just keep in the back of your mind, everyone, this week.
No, but Matt, you
reports.
can't compare Sandown to anywhere else. Sandown, every time I see good to soft, I've never ridden on good to soft ground in Sandown in all my life. I've either ridden on good or quicker, or it's always soft or slower. It's so hard to get the ground right, and you're going there on good to soft. You know it won't be good to soft.
What's a bigger hill? Cleve Hill or the Sandown Hill?
Cleve Hill is probably bigger, but Sandown on soft.
Probably.
Sandown on soft, I think's harder. I'm telling you, been there, Matt, ridden them. Sandown from 2 out is harder than from that distance in Cheltenham.
Okay. Do you like Barry Manilow? Do you know who Barry Manilow is?
No.
Okay. Barry Manilow was funny old singer. He had quite a big nose, but adored by many, and funny enough, my old man who was a music historian, but strangely he used to quite like Barry Manilow, which seems strange for a guy who was into classical music. Anyway, Coco Cabana was one of his great big hits. Runs in the bumper. At the Copacabana, the hottest spot north of Havana. At the Copacabana, music and passion were always the fashion. At the Copa, they fell in love. I rest my case. You must have heard that song, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I don't ever want to hear it again, to be honest.
I might do verse 2 if you carry on like that. Right, Copacabana. All the vibes suggest that this is a really extraordinary. And of course, we've had this JP McManus feature out recently, where basically he didn't say anything, but the one thing he vaguely said was that he'd back Copacabana, although for how much and whether he has, who knows.
Yeah, a lot of the people in around the area of Willie Mullins are all bigging this one up, and
maybe they like Barry Manilow.
And if you
watch, do verse 2.
I'm not sure if you watch Game of Inches winning. I think it was at Fairy House. He looks massive, man. Like 17 plus hands on that ground. Can't have him. Calypso chance, definitely has a chance. Bambino Fever, Matt. This is these bumpers.
The second verse is a really good one.
Oh, Matt, no.
No, I won't sing it. But the words are fantastic. I'm not even sure you'd write this kind of stuff, unless you were some sort of rapper, I guess, these days. But his name was Rico. He wore a diamond. He was escorted to his chair he saw Lola dancing there. And when she finished, he called her over. But Rico went a bit too far. Tony sailed across the bar, and then the punches flew, and the chairs were smashed in two. There was blood and a single gunshot, but just who shot who? I mean, those are terrific lyrics. Anyway.
And Fortune Demar, ignore his last run. Ignore his last run.
Yeah. Well, the bullets were flying there. It was
If
a
I
game
give
of
you
inches.
what?
Game of inches goes, does it for Willie Mullins? We don't know. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I like Calypso's chance. The bumper for me is a lottery. We know that because Patrick Mullins doesn't always ride the winner of the bumper. So it's fair to say that no one really knows. But Calypso's chance looked good in the point-to-point. Has won both start Sids. And he's a Jigginsdown horse, and they like bumper horses. So it's Calypso's chance for me, and I love a Calippo. Fat chance of getting a Calippo on this show, though. Mind you, we got some new croissants for day 2. You've attacked the almond one, which was the only one I liked.
I love that.
I love almond, but it needs to be heated. Just warmed up a little bit.
No
These two
microwaves
crusty
around
old things. A bad night out. Got crumbs all over the now. Right. So, what did you end up with the selection? I wasn't really listening to you. What did you go for?
Obviously the Fortune de Mare each way, and of Willie Mullins, I like Ed Ware's horse, the Favours, which is
Coco Cabana. I've just been.
Coco Cabana, the one you were trying to sing.
Copacabana.
I reckon, yeah.
Right. That is day 2. Done and dusted. Jonbon Day. I mean, we just want Jonbon to win the champion chase, don't we? If you have a heart, Paddy, you want Jonbon to win. So consistent, he brings it to the table.
I think Marine Nationale
just say you want Jonbon to. What is it against Nico you dislike so much?
Nico de Chastel. We'll be hearing plenty about him.
Nico. It's day 2 at Cheltenham. This was Unbridled.